What's going on, people? This is Aaron here, bringing you guys week 3 PSBL recap video, and a lot of you guys are going to be going, what the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be studying, you left the UPL for a reason. True, and I have been studying my ass off, really, and, yeah, like, I have received so much, what am I trying to say? Like, support for these recap videos for my league. I just felt like I really had to at least do the recap video. And I'm by myself this time, so I can just get it done really quickly and just go right back to studying. So hopefully this is like no longer than 30 minutes. I don't see why it wouldn't be. And I don't see any harm doing this one video every week. That shouldn't be a problem. And if it is, then I'll definitely ban it for good. I'm going back to the week 1 format. That was a whole lot quicker. I don't even have to do any video editing for this. I can just rename this, copy this over to YouTube, just do like a quick little. Actually, I think I already have a background, so like zero editing has to be done for this, and like I'll be right back to studying as soon as this thing's done and don't have to worry about a thing. So that's why I'm doing these recap videos for those who like know why I left the UPL. And so let's just get right back into this. The first match is the Ultra Beast versus the Nido Kings and Queens. And as you guys can see, the Ultra Beast brought, Crocodile, Neolego, Suicune, Shaman, Tornadus, and Regice. And Mandy the Turtle brought uh, Zapdos, Jellicent, Gliscor, just regular Scizor, Mega, oh my gosh, Gardevoir, and Miltank. Looking like just right off the bat, not a lot can be done about. Actually, it looks like the Ultra Beasts have prepped pretty nicely for the Jellicent, which Mandy has brought, I think, every week. I don't have the stats in front of me. I don't really want to look it up. So the biggest thing, honestly, if Milton could go down, I think Neolego would have a big like field day right now. And for the Needle Kings and Queens, I think Jellicent, they need to keep her healthy and should be able to do pretty well. So let's go ahead and watch this fight. Scizor starts for the Nido Queens on Suicune. Obviously, Scizor is not going to have a good match, but they decide to stay in and get the first turn burn, which is huge. Luckily, they do get a crit, so it doesn't really matter about the burn that turn, but the burn is huge. Out comes Zapdos. Obviously, has a good matchup, so the Ultra Beasts are going to switch out into Neolego, but another U-turn comes out, keeping up the momentum for the Nido Queens. Out comes Miltank right now, as he decides to switch into Tornadus on the Earthquake. Nice prediction there, and forces the Miltank to switch out into Zapdos yet again. Tornadus goes for a knockoff, getting rid of that life orb that we saw in Zapdos, and the U-turn comes out as well, as Zapdos decides to go for a U-turn of his own as the Regice comes in. And the Scizor comes out as well, which, as you can see, the burn is huge. That only did 24, which is actually a lot, even with the Berry and Burn. The Hidden Power of Fire comes out and kills the Mega Scizor. It's regular Scizor, excuse me. Now it comes out the Miltank, as the obvious Body Slam comes out, as Suicune eats that up pretty nicely and gets leftover recovery. Decides to switch into Jellicent, as the double comes in on Shaman. Nice double right there, as Jellicent now switches into Zapdos, which is at 50, loses another 17 because of that. And now here comes a Z Shatter Psyche, which takes out the Zapdos. A defensive Mon is out of there as Miltank comes out and goes for an Ice Punch. Only does 38, but gets the freeze, which is very nice for Nido Kings and Queens. As another Ice Punch comes out, does a lot, and Shaman now has to switch into Suicune as the Ice Punch hits yet again. Only does 8%, 6% recovery, only 2% damage, as Miltank is actually still going for it, risking the burn yet again, but has no switching. Goes into Jellicent now, as the Water Absorb obviously doesn't do anything, and Suicune now switches into Tornadus, who Jellicent goes for the taunt. Don't think that's really going to help anything, because the knockoff comes out, gets rid of the leftovers, which is really nice. Recovery comes out, doesn't really help that much, as now Acrobatics comes out, and this is kind of a stally part. Taunt ends for the Tornadus, another Acrobatics comes out, as recovery for Jellison now happens. Forced to switch into Gliscor now as another acrobatics does 32%. Toxic recovery is going to be nice for Gliscor as he's going to switch into Regice as he just decides to go for a Roost. Now they decide to switch into Jellison on that Ice Beam, which does not do a lot at all, but the Thunderbolt surprises the Jellison as it did 40% on it. Jellison is now forced to switch into Gardevoir, which does 34% on the switch-in. Maggie evolves, goes for the Hyper Voice and the Ice Beam, and Gardevoir is now under 30%, decides to take out the Regice, and again, it looks like Neolego's going to come out and possibly sweep, maybe. And if that happens, then it's another 5-0 victory for the Ultra Beast. As a Sludge Wave comes out, that takes out the Miltank pretty nicely. Neolego should be able to outspeed everything. And the Nidokings and Queens just decide to forfeit right now. And yep, so another 5-0 victory for the Ultra Beast. That is 3 5-0 victories in a row. I just don't see anyone that can stop these guys. Neolego obviously would have killed the last 2 Mons, so that's picking up 4 kills yet again. Just incredibly strong Mon right now. I think it has 11 kills so far, which is just great. So let's go over to the next match, which is Gamer Geek Go, which they are the Team Buildup versus Team Speed Boost. As you can see for Team Speed Boost, they have Skarmory, Kyurem Black, Emboar, Deontay, Rotomosh, and Ninjask debuting, which is really good. For Team Buildup, Bisharp, Swampert, Chandelure, gosh, what is that thing? Alolan Sandslash, P2, PZ, excuse me, and Mega Beedrill. Beedrill's already Mega Evolved. It doesn't really matter. If anything, I think it just becomes more frail, so it kind of bothers them more than it hinders the speed boost. So, like, it's one of those mons that really doesn't matter if it's Mega Evolved first turn. But let's get right into this match. They decide to switch out Swampert onto Rotom-Wash, and they leave it in on a Will-O-Wisp, which is kind of hurtful in a way. They decide to switch into Bisharp on the Hydro Pump, takes 55, I don't know what they were thinking there. They had to switch out into PZ on another Hydro Pump, which still does a lot of damage right there. As PZ decides to set up on the Volt Switch, switches right into Mega Deontay, and Mega Evolves, goes for a Moonblast, takes out the Porygon Z, which was not able to do anything, unfortunately. And now out comes Swampert, which comes in on a Hidden Power Grass, which takes it out. And now here's Mega Alolan Sandslash, excuse me, on the Icicle Crash. Only does 19% on the Rotom Wash. Hydro Pump misses, unfortunately, on the Swords Dance. As Speed Boost is now going to try to Will-O-Wisp, that also misses, unfortunately, and a Leech Life comes out, and looks like Will-O-Wisp is going to come out again, and this time they are going to live it on 22%, and they should be able to live another one. They decide to go for a Pain Split, which is very nice on their part, as another Leech Life comes out, and yeah, it should be able to do pretty good against, yep, it is 53%, excuse me, as they decide to go for another Swords Dance, which now they're only on 2%, as a Volt Switch will be able to take it out. Sandslash not being able to do anything either. It is now 6 versus 3 as Kyurem Black comes out. And now also out comes Bisharp as the Earth Power takes it out. And now out comes Beedrill as Skarmory comes out to try to take a hit. U-turn, hits it. Only does 6%. It does more to make a Beedrill than anything else. And now here comes Chandelure as that brings out the Mega Deontay as just takes out the Chandelure with a Power Gem, and a Poison Jab lived by Deontay, takes out Mega Beedrill, and that was a very good 6-0 by Team Speed Boost. Very unfortunate. I actually thought that Beedrill was actually going to take out Deontay with the Poison Jab. Should have been 5-0 in my opinion. If they didn't set up again that Swords Dance on Sandslash, they might have been able to do a little bit more damage to the Rotomosh where they would have been able to do something. Very unfortunate. I believe that's 2 6-0s in a row by Team Buildup, which is, again, very unfortunate. I really hope they find the win. Not next week because we face them, but anyway, another great first win for Team Speed Boost. Hopefully that's the first of many, except for against us. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Funny. But yeah, let's go to the third match, which is yours truly, the Buffalo Wild Chargers versus Rockans. We decided to bring Zygarde, Porygon 2, Tapu Fini, Deontay, Hitmontop, and Mega Absol. Rockhands and Team Sundance Kids decided to bring Lando, Venusaur, Torkoal, Goodra, Volcanion, and Clefable. Spoiler alert, I do not want to do this match. I do not want to rewatch this match, but I am going to. Volcanion decides to come out on our Deontay. We know that what's coming, so we decided to switch on to Tapu Fini on the Steam Eruption. Only does 29%, which is very good. I thought Leftovers is going to be able to bring it back for us. We know that there was going to be a switch, so we decided to Calm Mind, just so we can live any hit that we want. Giga Drain comes out on the Ice Beam as well, does 73%, which is very nice damage for us. We know we're going to live another one, so we decide to go for another Ice Beam. Even if we wanted to switch into Volcanion, we should have been able to live any hit that he wants to throw at us. Go for the Nature's Madness, was pretty good damage, but the Sludge Wave crits. I believe we would have lived it either way if it did not crit. So that brings out Zygarde now, as we decide to substitute up so that we can take any hit. Go for 1,000 arrows, see how much it's going to do. It does 27%. As the Reflect comes out, and that actually really worried me, as now we're not going to be able to do a lot to it. As we just decide 1,000 arrow again, as it does nothing to that, as the obvious Hidden Power Ice comes out, and then we decide to Dragon Dance, see what kind of Landorus this is. As we can see, we don't really want to take that. As the Porygon 2 comes out, only does 8% with the Hidden Power Ice, which is great. And then they figure out that we are Analytic Porygon 2 that does a 70 to that thing, and switches into Goodra, which only does 15 that time with Sludge Bomb. Unfortunately, poisons our Porygon, as we decide to Toxic the Goodra as well. And right now, it goes for a Body Slam, and we just decide to recover to see what kind of set of Goodra this is. We can see that it's kind of a physical set. Actually, multi. Oh wow, interesting. Decides to go out into Volcanion. We know we don't want to take a hit. We switch out and Hitmontop on the Flamethrower, sacking it off, unfortunately, and they're already up 6-4. We can bring out Zygarde again. Obviously, we can take a Flamethrower, and if we go for 1,000 arrows, does take out the Torkoal. Great. That is perfect, actually. And we think we can 1v1 this thing. We forget the Chlorophyll, and unfortunately, that's going to do a lot of damage. Decide to Dragon Dance off, try to get as much damage off as we can on this next 1,000 arrows, as we know we're about to die. Go for the Outrage, actually. Lives on 1%, unfortunately. We knew that Clefable was going to come out next turn anyway, but we thought that it was going to kill. Bring out the Absol, Mega Evolve, and gets the first kill for Mega Absol on the knockoff. But that brings out Clefable now, and trying to go for the Iron Tail. That was unfortunately what lost us the game, because they were going to end up to go for a Light Screen as well. And on this next turn, they're going to go for the Healing Wish, which, as you can see, they bring out Volcanion, now full health, well, 75%, but is able to outspeed our entire team other than Absol, which Absol can't do anything because of the Reflect. Goes for a knockoff to hopefully live a hit with Porygon 2 afterwards. The crit, again, I think we might have been able to live. I'm not sure. I don't know, honestly. But look, another crit happened again as we try to go for a Toxic, but that doesn't really matter, as they're just going to be able to kill us with Steam Eruption. 4 crits I counted for Volcanion. 3 of them mattered greatly, which this is the reason why we lost the last crit. I think we would have been able to outstall this thing so we can lose 2-0, but a loss is still a loss anyway. Good game to Sundance Kids. Let's move on now to Team Eon versus Team I Don't Know As Dark. Team Eon trying to put the first loss to I Don't Know As Dark. Let's just get right into it. Umbreon comes out versus Type Null, as a Taunt comes out, so that nothing bad really happens, but a U-turn actually happened. Able to eat that up pretty nicely as Ninetales comes out. Umbreon decides to switch into Cryogonal on the Moonblast, ate it up pretty nicely because it's specially defensive, and Type Null switches out as well. Eats that Ancient Power pretty nicely and go for a U-turn on Cofagrigus, who eats that up pretty nicely as well. Ninetales comes out on the Dark Pulse. Still eats that up pretty nicely and goes for a Pain Split. As Cofagrigus switches out into Cryogonal, who eats up even better that Dark Pulse, and Type Null switches out. Pulls a double into Primarina, goes for a Scald. Not able to burn it, but a U-turn comes out for Type Null and switches right into Thundurus. For some reason, Team Eons decides to stay in and is dying to a Thunderbolt as a Stone Edge only hits Gligar for 17%, forcing the Garchomp to switch into Cryogonal. Gligar is forced to switch into Terrakion on the Freeze Dry, does 27 and freezes the Terrakion, giving Cryogonal the opportunity to Rapid Spin. And they're going to be switching into Cofagrigus now. Still frozen Terrakion, forces to switch into Type Null, and a Shadow Ball is immune, makes Type Null immune as the rest comes out, which is very annoying if I was ever going to face that, but predicted on the Will-O-Wisp. Switches out into Mew now for Team Eon, as Sleep Talk comes out, and it goes for the U-turn. Ninetales versus Mew right now, as a Dark Pulse comes out, only does 33%, which is actually a lot, but the Stealth Rocks comes out as well. Another Dark Pulse to Mew, living it on 19, and goes for a Roost. So now Ninetales switches out into Dugtrio, which is very weird, because now they go for a Psychic on the Dugtrio, and they're only at 8%. Mew decides to Roost in case he wants to go for a Sucker Punch. Now Dugtrio is only at 1%. It goes for another Toxic, maybe predicting a switch or something. But the Psychic takes it out. And now it is 1-1 loss so far for both teams as Gligar comes out as he switches right out into Umbreon on the Defog. And Umbreon obviously has the advantage because it's bulkier, I believe. Goes for a Heal Bell, which is very nice for, honestly I forgot what was, had anything on it. But Mew comes out, Terrakion is forced to switch into Gligar on the Psychic, does great damage, 40% is nice damage on the Gligar, and able to take it out. And now the Team Eon now has the advantage, 5-4, Mew comes out, Terrakion actually unthaws, able to hit the Mew with a Stone Edge, but Psychic is able to kill it as Ninetales comes out, forces Mike to switch into Cryogonal, which only does 10% to it with a Dark Pulse. Ancient Power trying to get those boosts, unable to get it, so he has to switch out into Cofagrigus as the Sleep Talk Rest comes out, unfortunately for them. Wakes up, goes for a U-turn. That's going to do more to him because of the Rocky Helmet damage. Now out comes Ninetales on the Will-O-Wisp, which kind of helps them out in a way, not really. Dark Pulse hits Cofagrigus, only does 39, and the Pain Split comes out. So they're going to go for, obviously, another Dark Pulse, but does not do a lot. A crit does 7% to an Umbreon. So net damage of only 1%. Moonblast doesn't even do that much, as a Wish comes out for an Umbreon too, as they decide to switch into Mew on the Dark Pulse, which does take it out, unfortunately. Nice prediction there by Pauly. As now out comes Garchomp with the Iron Head taking it out. Now it is 4v2 for Team Eon, trying to get the first loss for, I don't know, as Dark, as Aurora comes out for Type Null, which I think that's all 4 moves that we've shown. As a U-turn comes out as well, switching into Thundurus, as Umbreon now switches into Cofagrigus, which will take great health back, and a Thunderbolt does 54 to it, but a Shadow Ball only does 35, but gets a special defense drop. Another Thunderbolt hits it, and now it's 3v2. Cryogonal lives the Thunderbolt, takes it very nicely. Freeze Dry is able to take it out. 3v1, but that one is very, very bulky. Trying to freeze it, unable to do it. U-turn does not actually take out Cryogonal, as another Freeze Dry takes it out. Does not take it out, excuse me, but another U-turn will take out Cryogonal, as Umbreon taunts so that he's not able to rest. A U-turn is not able to take it out, but a foul play is able to do pretty nice damage to it, as a U-turn is able to take out Umbreon. As now Garchomp versus Type Null, who cannot rest up, and he lives on 4%. U-turn is not going to do enough. Rough Skin is able to take it out, and there you have it. Team Eon gives, I don't know, Astark their first loss. Yeah, congratulations to them, bouncing back from their loss last week against us. Maybe this is a preview of what else is to come. Very good game on both parts. Nice job by Polly to bring back the game, so that it was very, very close. Now we're going to go to the last game. It is the 64ers versus Dragonites. The Dragonites trying to bounce back from their 0-6 loss, trying to go back to their winning ways, as they brought Coco, Delphox, Scolipede, Vaporeon, Mega Aggron, and Crobat. The 64ers brought Hydreigon, Celesteela, Mega Alakazam, Infernape, Rotomo, and Donphan. So let's just get right into it. As Rotomo comes out against Vaporeon. Vaporeon obviously doesn't have good advantage, as the Thunderbolt comes out to 79% to it, as Delphox is able to outspeed and destroy Rotom with it. With a Flamethrower, Delphox decides to stay in and does 65 to Hydreigon. That is just incredible damage, even if it is Specs. That's very good damage, but Earth Power is able to take out the Delphox. Crobat forces a switch on Hydreigon into Celesteela, goes for a U-turn into Mega Aggron. And I don't know what, honestly don't know what Bryce was thinking here. I knew that Celesteela was going to be able to 1v1 Mega Aggron in this very stally thing. He realizes that after how little that Avalanche did. And Celesteela now still staying in on a Scolipede, which a Rock Slide does do damage to Celesteela and flinches. They're just looking for a +1 speed boost into Cap Coco on the Flamethrower. So now Coco is definitely going to be the fastest thing on the field no matter what, as a Wild Charge comes out, taking out Hydreigon. And the recoil, unfortunately, does a lot to it, though. As the U-turn comes out into Donphan, as he switches into Crobat on the Earthquake. Good prediction there by Bryce. It goes for a U-turn on the Donphan again, this time into Vaporeon. But watch out, this is Bloom, Doom, Donphan, surprising everybody, including Bryce. As you can see, he's freaking out, going, what just happened? And now Donphan is forced to switch out into Celesteela again. It's able to 1v1 this Aggron, as it is tied 4v4. And the Heavy Slam, going for a Roar, which is very nice on their part, switches up right back into Celesteela. As we're just going to go right back to the stall. A Flamethrower does pretty good damage to it. Avalanche does 30 now, as we're just going back and forth. Avalanche, Leech Seed. Eventually Celesteela is going to be able to 1v1 this thing, no problem. Heavy Slam's only doing 6%, as Avalanche is doing 30. So honestly, the 64 should stop attacking and then just go for Leech Seed. So it's like you're gaining more than you're losing. So Flamethrower is able to take out Aggron, and it is now 4v3, as Coco now comes out, and they're going to go for a Ruse. 64s are not having it. They go for a Heavy Slam, so that Coco is forced to take out Celesteela with a Wild Charge, but that also recoils it, the main offensive threat. As Scolipede now comes out, 64s decide to go into Mega Alakazam to trace that speed boost, is able to outspeed Scolipede, and with this speed boost, we'll be able to outspeed Crobat, and we'll be able to take it out. 3-0 victory for the 64ers. Another loss for the Dragonites. Nothing against Bryce, but that Bloom Doom Donphan was just a great prep by the 64ers. Well, I think that's probably the main thing that won them the match, because I think Vaporeon would have been able to have a field day against the rest of the 64 squad if Celesteela did go down, which it did. So nothing he could have really done. So let's just go right into the, I was on the team build-ups page prepping for them. Where are we? I want to go to the standings. right now. If it loads, as you can see, let's go from the bottom up. Team Build Up and the Nido Queens are both 0-3, -14 and -12 respectively. None of those move anywhere. The Buffalo Wild Chargers, we also didn't move any. Oh no, we moved down a spot, losing. We're now 1-2, -7. The Dragonites is now 1-2, -3. They went down 2 spots. But the Speed Boost, they have the biggest jump of the week, going from 8th to 6th with their first 6-0 win. They're 1-2, -1. The 64s are 2-1 and are just one differential spot under Team Eon. 64s went up 1 spot, as Team Eon is still in that 4th spot. They love that spot, I guess, because they've been in that spot since week 1. Team I Don't Know S Dark went from 2nd to 3rd with their first loss of the week. Sundance Kids and the Ultra Beast are the only two 3-0 teams. Sundance Kids with an 8 differential and the Ultra Beast at a 15 differential. So let's go to the power rankings. Shout out to the Pokemaster Mike for doing these power rankings. I'm not going to go over what Mike says. You guys can read them yourselves because you're pretty much the only ones that are going to watch this. But they have Team Build Up at 10th place, the Nido Queens at 9th place. He switched them. The Dragonites went from 6th to 8th place. The Wild Chargers stayed at 7th place. Sundance Kids, oh my gosh, Sundance Kids. Speed Boost went from 8th place to 6th place. The 64s stayed at the 5th place. He put Team I Don't Know S Dark into 4th place in the power rankings from 2nd, and I think this is way too high, Mike. This is way too high for you. You can't do power rankings anymore, fam. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But they put him at 3rd place. I think that's a great spot for them. Sundance Kids, they go into 2nd place, and the Ultra Beast will remain on 1st place for the week. So let's go into league leaders. The final thing of the video is about a 30-minute video, which is very great. As you can see, we still have Torkoal in the top 10. Torkoal, Donphan, and Thunderous each having 4 kills. Tapu Koko, Reuniclus, and Volcanion each having 5 kills. Mew and Garchomp, both on Team Eon, both have 6 kills, which is actually very, very impressive. Megadionce having 8 kills now, and your league leader is Neolego with 11 kills. Still, Torkoal in the top 10 is very surprising. If it keeps up what it's been doing, it's not going to be in the top 10 for very long. Volcanion, its debut, had 5 kills in that match. Reuniclus is not very surprising the way that I Don't Know S Dark had it. And Neolego, obviously, is going to be on top with how the Ultra Beasts have been using it. So let's go to the kill-death ratio. We have Landorus T, Crocodile, and Mimikyu, each having 3 kills and 1 death, making their kill-death ratio 3. Mew's leading that pack because of the 6 kills and only 2 deaths. Thunderous having 4 kills is the sole one with a 4 kill-death ratio. Volcanion and Reuniclus, the Divide 0, I think is above a 5, but below a 6, so I'm calling it a 5.5, mind you. Garchomp is 6-1, so that's in 3rd place. Megadionce is at 8, and Neolego, I'm calling it an 11.5. So let's go to the schedule. I lied about the league leaders being the final thing for the day. Well, we're going to week 4 right now, which is Team Eon versus the Ultra Beasts. My prediction there is the Ultra Beasts, not 5-0. I think it's going to be closer than what the Ultra Beasts have been doing, but I still think that the Ultra Beasts are going to pull out the win. Team Build Up versus the Wild Chargers. I don't want to be biased, but I believe that we are going to pull out the win. I think the way that Team Build Up has been playing, they've been killing themselves more than the opponents have. If they keep it up, then I don't see them winning any matches, but I hope that is not the case. I hope they can find a win somewhere down the road. Not this week, though. Next, we have Team I Don't Know S Dark versus the Nido Queens. Again, nothing against the Nido Queens, but the way that they have been playing, I just see I Don't Know S Dark pulling out the win. Team Speed Boost will be facing against the 64ers in the final matchup, I believe. No, not the final matchup. No, yeah, the second to final matchup. This is actually going to be very close. I predicted the Speed Boost to be in like the finals, I think. I had them. And right now they're only 1-2, and the 64s are 2-1.